I'm not a master programmer in any sense of the word, but I do understand the basics pretty well. And I've thought an awful lot about the best way to teach the fundamentals of programming to someone who doesn't know the first thing about computers. Basically, how to take all of these ideas that are full of computer jargon and simplify them and put them into, basic English. Well, I thought a lot about that, and I decided to take a different approach. This is going to sound weird at first, maybe a little crazy, but just hear me out. It'll what you really need to do is stop treating your students like they're human beings and start treating them like they're machines. I'm talking about using a teaching approach I'm talking about using a teaching approach that is based on machine learning. Okay, so here's what you do. Let's say you want to teach them Python lists. Um, so instead of like trying to explain to them what a list is, you just show them one list. And you don't fucking tell them anything about the list. Here's a list. Here's another list and another. And you put each list on the screen, like on the overhead screen for like, I don't know, like a minute or whatever. So let's see. Trying to think of how many lists you could do. You could probably take less than a minute per list. You could go through like 100 lists in one class. And you could go through, if you want to spend the whole week on lists, that's what, 500 lists? And you would want to use as many different kinds of lists as you can, of course. Lists that contain numbers, lists that contain a mix of numbers and booleans and strings, lists that contain other lists that contain objects that contain lists. Get nested with it. So anyway, once you do all that, you kind of have the students talk about, well, as you're doing this in class, you have the students talk about any patterns that they observe. So with a list, for example, the students would eventually figure out that, for example, lists start and end with those square brackets, and the items in the list are separated by commas. They would probably ask a question like, do spaces matter? Well, in Python, spaces do not matter. They are optional. So you can separate the commas by spaces or not. So anyway, that's just lists. So you can do that shit with different data types. You can do it with functions. You can do it with classes. You can do it with everything. Just example after example after example.